Hawaii's island ecosystems are complex, diverse, and unique. Most of our environments have changed significantly from their original state. Non-native grazing animals have naturalized in some places and are a part of the ecosystem now. With no natural predators, the populations of these animals can get very big and have significant impacts on the land, especially our grasslands. Large populations can contribute to overgrazing the land, which leads to loss of cover, increased bare ground, or toxic plants. As overgrazing degrades the land, less rainfall is absorbed and runoff is increased. Bare soil is vulnerable to erosion and washes into our streams and beaches, smothering our reefs. Left unchecked, this process leads to desertification of the land and eventual loss of coral reefs and the fish habitat and shoreline protection they provide.
We really need to find ways to educate the public.
After a big rain down here, I go and look at the ocean and it's all brown, reddish brown.
The deer, they're in their numbers now are really overgrazing and taking everything down to dirt, and then that all in turn washes down to the oceans, and that's killing our reefs and having a major effect on everything.
When there's a heavy rain event and that water all gets into the ocean, is to look mauka, because that's where that's coming from.
Why did that water get brown? If they're gonna look up the hill and say, I can blame that's the ranch the one. No, ranch never do that. The ranch took the cows out a long time ago because there's no grass. The deer is there.
This deer problem is a really important first step to manage how much bare ground there is. Deer do play a big role. If you see a herd of 500 deer, and we have on this landscape, they're not our deer. They just eat everything to the ground and they expose that.
So the deer really did a lot of damage up here. They're like a termite on the land. They just take it away.
Our livestock guys are among the best in the world, and they move our cattle through and they rest paddocks longer than they graze them. But the deer, there's no rules. They go over fences, under fences, they graze everything to the ground. You can't move them to the next paddock. They're wild animals. It's like cockroaches. You want to keep them all in the kitchen or all out of the kitchen, you can't do that. And so what that leads to, and what we see, a lot of downslope siltation in the ocean.
The health of our island, the things that people enjoy every day, the coral reefs and the rivers and all of that is affected by the deer. People don't think about it.
It's something that everyone has to appreciate of what damage these animals are doing to us.
It needs to be understood as being an attack on the island.
It's the degrading of the land. It's like you have a lot of erosion going on. It just totally changes the environment. Of course, what happens on land affects the ocean. So it's like just shifting throughout the whole community, and it used to be confined in certain areas. Now it's an island problem.
Yeah, it's just the health of our island, the life of the land, we have to take care.
It gets to a tipping point where it's really hard to bring it back. If you have so much erosion, so much bare ground, it takes that much longer to come back. So the deer come in, they eat everything down to the ground, you get bare ground, you get erosion.
I've watched places on the island turn to fireweed, that lion mane tail, that new weeds that we got on the island. Down in the lowlands, I've seen where the deer just eat down to the dirt, all their favorite stuff, and you watch all the bad stuff come up. And it's scary. And there's places that are still gone, that years had never come back, only weeds.
It changes the vegetation, and we just can't turn that very quickly. So we have to address that deer problem as soon as we can, because the longer it takes to turn it around, and the closer we get to that tipping point where in some places it might be so far gone that we might not be able to bring it back in any reasonable amount of time. And we're going to get this damage, with heavy rains and everything else, to all these adjacent landscapes, especially Makai. What happens on the mountain affects what happens in the ocean. So this is all part of a larger land management scheme that really is starting with managing deer.
Right now we got to take care of this land because the land feeds us too. We got to take care of it.
At least knowing, you can know, you can help support the people who are doing it. Yeah, but just by knowing, yeah, even though it's not impacting you yet, knowing it, you can make good decisions or help others to make good decisions to make it right.
Its time has passed. This is an ecological disaster. We have to get together and make this work.
If we can all come together in understanding and action, we will preserve the health of our land, oceans, our food and water security, and even the health of the deer themselves. But it will take all of us, government, ranchers, hunters, farmers, conservationists, and community to malama our aina and manage the presence of deer in Hawaii as a resource for today and future generations.